My name is Michelle Verisco. I'm chair of the Visual Arts Department. Welcome to our audition information session. First, we're going to hand the floor over to Lee, and then three of the faculty will be talking with y'all with more details about our program. Lee?
Right. Hello, hello. Thank you for letting me pop in here and share this bit about the application. My name is Lee Traylor, and I am the admissions lead here at NOCA. And my reason for joining your visit today is just to give you a few little tips and pointers about the application process. We've learned over the years there are a few little sticky places, and so I want to try to help give you some clues as to how to navigate. We will go from here. So the online application can be found by going to the NOCA website or by going to noca.getaccepted.com. Accepted is the name of the platform that our application lives on. And you'll notice if you are going to choose to type it in that way that there is no E in between the T and the D for accepted, and that is correct. So not to worry, you're heading to the right place. But an easy way is just to go to the NOCA website. There's an easy pop-up that you can just click and go to the application. The first step that you'll do in this application is you will make an accepted account. This is not the NOCA account, but the accepted account. So a parent or guardian will need to make the account using their email. There's a choice for them to place the student's email in as well. If they do, the next step after that is that both emails, or one, if you only used one, will need to be verified. You know how when you sign up for something new and they say you've got to go say that it's heading to the right place, you've got to go into your email and say, yes, this is the right person and we're all communicating. You'll have to do that with this. This is a common place where parents get stuck. They put everything in, they push submit, and then they can't go any further. So they miss going to their email and double checking to verify the email. And if you did put your student's email in, you've got to do it in the student's email as well, or your student will need to do that. You'll be asked to choose your area of interest on the accepted application. This can be very misleading because this is the accepted app. It is not the NOCA application. Not all of our areas are listed on the accepted app, so it can really throw some people off. I do believe visual arts is there, so this group shouldn't have an issue. But if you don't see what you need, put other, and it's okay because you're not to our application yet. And it's not going to make a difference on your NOCA application. Then when it says, okay, time to find your program, search for programs that you're interested in applying to. There'll be lots of different programs in there. You will search for and use all the words, New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. Don't put NOCA in, NOCCA, because it won't find it. When you put in all the words, you will find the 2526 application. You will also see the Experience NOCA application because we use the same platform. But the titles should make it clear to you which one you need, and it's going to be the 2526 application. So this is the NOCA application. When you get here, you know that you've arrived to where you need to be. This is where, for this group, you will choose that you want to be, you want to apply an audition for the Half-Day Arts Conservatory. There is no middle school program in visual arts, so all of you will be choosing Half-Day Arts Conservatory. And then below, you'll choose your visual arts. So the Half-Day Arts Conservatory, of course, has all 10 disciplines. Used to have 11, but we've merged our musical theater and drama into a title now of theater arts. So 10 different disciplines. So if you are currently in 8th through 11th grade, you can apply. Your audition determines what level you're placed at, not your grade or anything else. If you're accepted, you'll be coming to NOCA 5 days a week from 1:15 to 3:45. And you will earn high school credit. This one will move through quickly because this is the after school arts instruction which visual arts does not have, just classical, instrumental, and dance. Let's see what's next. So many students ask, how do I get into the full day program? We have a full day academic program called Academic Studio. First and foremost, students who apply to NOCA are applying for the Arts Conservatory. We are an art school. For those students who are accepted, there will be a link in your application. If you tell us, yes, you're interested in that full day program, there will be a link in your application to start the process of applying for full day. But the first focus, of course, is applying for your visual arts. All students will do these three things at least. Everybody who applies to NOCA makes a video of themselves. You could just use your phone, set it up on the windowsill and stand there. Tell us in your own words, why do you want to come to NOCA? What is it about coming to NOCA that interests you and that makes you excited about coming to work hard in your art? Just talk to us a bit. This is our first chance to get to know you, and we just would like to just hear you tell us why you want to come here and work hard with us. The next thing that everyone will do is submit a report card, your most recent report card. We do require that students have at least a 2.0 on grade point average on the report card. The reason for this is we want to know that students are feeling fairly confident in their academic studies before they add to the daily task an intensive art program that is going to require some focus, some passion, some after-school work. So we require a 2.0. Everyone will come also to this application. You can start thinking about it now with the email of someone that you want to be your recommender. You don't have to ask someone to write a letter and submit that to us. But what we ask is that you find someone who's not in your family, someone who knows about your interest in visual arts, someone who knows about your passion, who is either a teacher or someone else who is aware of your commitment and your interest in learning more about visual arts. That person can do your recommendation. The way it works is you come to the application, one question will ask for the email of your recommender. You put in the email and the recommender's name, and then when you push submit on the whole application, when the whole application is done and you push submit, then the application will shoot your recommender an email that says, hey, this student would like for you to complete a recommendation, and here's the form. They complete it electronically, they push submit, and then boom, it goes right back to your application. It's done. It's a very easy process. So just start thinking about who you'd like to be your recommender. So Experience NOCA is an after-school opportunity that we have, many different opportunities for students to get a taste of NOCA. And we do suggest that while you're going through this whole application process, you certainly could come do some of these Experience NOCA workshops to get your feet wet. So here is a QR code for you. Remember, I just said that when you search for New Orleans Center for Creative Arts, you're going to see a couple different applications. One of them will be this one. We do have some wonderful offerings coming up, and the deadline for that is not until January 10th. Very close to the deadline for your 25-26 application. But we'll look at that in just a moment. All right, important dates. This cycle, I put the whole cycle on here for people because I just like for you to see the whole picture. In October, we release the application. We have audition information sessions in December, which is what we're doing now. Then there's an application deadline, January 17th. Then we hold auditions in February. By late March, I'm sending you an email with your results. And by June, we're going through our registration for the following year. Take a picture of this slide. That's got my information on it, and I want you to feel totally comfortable and free to call or email. Email is best, but you can call. If you have any questions or any difficulties throughout your process. So here's my info. Then the two deadlines that I spoke of, January 10th is a deadline for experienced NOCA, and January 17th is a deadline for the application. This deadline is very important. This deadline, the applications, while we do accept applications after the deadline, we can't promise that there will be an audition. The ones that come before the deadline are all considered as on-time applicants. The ones that come after, we go through that whole process first with the ones that are on time, and then we see if they're where we are. Okay, it's really important that you get this in on time. I often ask people to please shoot to get your application in before the winter holiday, before you go home for Christmas or to celebrate with your family for your break. Because when we come back to school in January, this deadline is going to jump up on us so quickly. If you wait to the last minute, if you have any trouble, then all of a sudden it's a very tense time. And we want this to be, we want you to feel good about your application. So please do try to get it in as soon as possible. Now in visual arts does a pre-screen. They're going to tell you more about all that later. So I am not automatically assigning auditions for visual arts students. First, the department is going to review your things and let me know who is going to move into step 2 and be invited for an audition. And so I won't be responding right away with an audition for you, but you do know that by February, we'll get in there with those, or shortly after this deadline, we'll get in there with decisions and responses to your application. So please let me know if you have any needs or questions for me, and I'm happy to help you. And I can take maybe 1 to 3 questions right now if you have any, and then we're going to move on. Does anybody have a question for me?
So I have a question. When you mentioned the February, that you would get back to us by February, is that if they are advancing to the next round, we'll hear something by February?
Yes, or you'll hear something shortly after January 17th. All those decisions will be made. You will get an email from me. Everybody who submits an application will get an email.
Okay, thank you very much. One more quick question.
Yes.
When they're for the visual arts, and I, of course, haven't gone to the application yet, do they upload their artwork? Is that how that would work, or will that be answered later?
It'll be answered later. They're going to talk all about it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great. One more question, and then I'm going to move on and let you all move on.
Okay.
I think we're good. Thank you all for letting me pop in. And now I'm going to go visit with some other students. I appreciate it.
Okay, let me just double check that there wasn't another question that jumped into the chat. No, I think we're good. I think we're good. Thank you. Okay. Oh, wait, here's a question. What if I have to get a recommendation letter from somebody who doesn't do anything in the field of art? Okay.
That's okay. That is okay. That person can speak to your focus, your determination, their knowledge of your interest in learning more, how you approach your when you're really into something. If you just go after it, that person can speak to a lot of things, and y'all can talk a little more about that as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Okay, now everyone else, why don't y'all hang on for the call? I'm going to introduce Marcus Brown is our sculpture instructor. Terry DeRoche is digital arts. And I am Michelle Varisco. I'm the chair of the visual arts department. I teach photography, and we have a slideshow set up that kind of gives you the an inside look at the program and the process, both. And in addition, we try to give you a glimpse of what it's like to be a student in the program by introducing all kinds of details that throughout this slideshow. I want everybody to know that came in a little bit later that this is recorded. And also that if you have questions, we have the chat room on the side. Terry will be able to answer, or ask the questions to the group, together so we can all hear what's being addressed. But also we'll save some time at the end for questions. Okay? So I'm going to pass it over to Marcus Brown to lead, or Terry, both of them, to lead the conversation on the program and via the slideshow. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Michelle. The question I see in there was like, you can't hear I guess our presentation. And so I think that's a technical issue of sometimes allowing permissions for your speakers to connect to the software that you're using. Oh, you couldn't hear Michelle either. Okay, yeah, I think it's a permissions issue, and I don't know how to quite help you without taking over your screen, and I can't do that from here. But I think it's an issue of just either restarting the software and trying that, or turning your volume up, or turning the mute off, or there's lots of things that it could be associated with that. So
you have to give Google Meet the permission to use your speakers when you first start.
Okay.
It may be easy for you to just like log out really quick and then log right back in, and we'll wait 5 seconds for you.
It's okay. I for some reason I only couldn't hear Michelle. I was having some problems in the beginning, so I don't want to log out again. But I have heard everyone else, so I'm not sure why.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't hear.
All right.
All right,
Thank
great.
you.
Right on.
Sure thing. So today we're just going to go over the information about the upcoming audition, but also give you a sense of what it's like to be here as for your student to be here at NOCA. And I think Marcus is going to drive the slideshow. So I think is there a video that comes up first, Marcus?
No, I think we'll have a few more pictures first. I can just go to the next one now.
Yeah, go ahead. See, I think is that a video? No, not a video.
No, there's not a video.
Then I need to get on. Okay. So we offer arts training here through our studio experience. You can see students here in different studios working on their different artwork, different disciplines. And I know that it's often thought of as if you're going to be a visual arts major and, through high school and then through college, that the career path is going to be one where you're going to be sitting in a studio painting and then go to a gallery and see the work. And that might be true for some people. For a very small percentage of people, that will be true. But really, the visual arts, permeate a lot of career paths. And we'll see some of them in the next few slides, I think, actually. I'm going to go ahead and go through. There you go. So you can see that, there's photography. So that can be not just, fine art photography, but it could be also wedding photography or product photography. There's also comics, and comics, as you can see on the left-hand side, there's serial arts, and that can be it's even illustration. So whether a company needs a thing illustrated, I get a lot of, I know parents get nervous, and my mother was nervous when I became an art major in college, because it's really, it's hard to wrap your mind around so many of the things that the arts encompass. And so it goes everywhere, not just in the few things that we'll see in a gallery and stuff like that. So go ahead, next slide. Okay, right. So there's that one part. Let me go ahead and advance my little slides over here. Great. Oh, no, you can go back. Thanks. So don't worry too much about the career path. I know people talk about the career path a lot. I get a lot of that when parents come in and do our open houses. All right, for online training. So we do use online a lot, and we use this software. We're currently using a software package called Padlet, and what we use Padlet for sharing the artwork. It's a record of the artwork, and it's also the sharing so all students can see the artwork, even if they're at their house or somewhere else. In addition to that, the work is going to be on the halls. We plaster the walls in the hallways with all the student work, but we also use this online training stuff too. All right, go ahead and slide. Thank you. Let's see. Right. So all of the teachers here are professional artists and who work with the students in various studios. And so each of the teachers for that discipline actually do that discipline, for their own artwork. We're also once a week. Currently, we use one day a week to we critique the student work. And it's not just us, actually, it's students talking about student work. We do the best we can to help give advice, but we have found, no surprise, like students listen to students a lot as well. And so if another student is giving feedback, it's helpful for the artist to hear what the other student is seeing and then make changes about their artwork or in the future do those kind of things. And conversely, it's helpful to talk about your work so that you can present your work not only to other students, but hopefully in the future to other clients or even our schools. And I don't know what else is on there. Oh, Marcus, you want to talk about your metal pour there?
Oh yeah, so this is a little picture of one of our bronze pours that we did in the department. So when students are level 2 students, they get to learn how to do lost wax bronze investment casting. And so this is just an example of one of our pours that we do in the studio. So they get to, in the picture, you can see one of the students is learning how to pour the metal, and it's pretty fun. So we're one of the few schools that does it, and maybe the only school of high school that does it in Louisiana. So it's a real special thing that we get to do.
Yeah, it's a great day. And you can see the collaboration part of it. Like, sometimes the arts get people think of the arts as just going into your own little room and doing your thing, where here you can see there's some collaboration that goes on. So collaboration during critique, collaboration during the bronze pour. And then you can see on the right-hand side, that's our chair, Michelle Briscoe, and talking about photography with a student named Terry as well. So we're constantly talking with the student. It's a collaboration as the students making work. The teachers are collaborating with them to help guide and bring their work to fruition. Next slide. Okay. So there are 2 different possible levels of entry to the NOCA program. So level 1, door 1 or door 2. So either level 1 or the level 2. So I think the next slide is going to talk about the difference between those 2. Is that true? Yeah. So for level 1 program, this is the main entryway into NOCA. It's going to run Monday through Friday. It's 5 days a week, and it's for grades 9 to 12. Anybody, all grades. Like, we don't separate students by their grade level. We separate them by their program, like the level that they're in NOCA. So it's possible to have a 12th grader and a 9th grader in the same classroom for level 1 because their skill levels are about the same. They're in the same kind of ballpark. Level 1 is a very skills-based program, building foundations that we then will use as they advance through the program. A lot of emphasis on observational drawing, and by observational drawing, it's actually you have one way to think of it is have a still life in front of you, and you're drawing and/or painting directly from that still life, as opposed to working from, say, like a photograph or your phone or your imagination. So that kind of foundation for drawing and painting really helps build their skill levels as they move through the program. Students will also take, in addition to the 2D and 3D, so 2D is going to be things that are flat, so that's drawing and painting, collage. And then 3D are the 3D sculpture, 3D modeling, and I guess computer modeling as well, right, Marcus? Yep. And I don't know if you want to describe other things you guys do in 3D. I have a hard time sometimes.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of stuff. Some of it could even be kind of considered industrial design, but most of the level 1 students focus on learning how to measure with like old school with tools and learning how to do like more engineering and architectural drawing. And really a lot of that has to do, they learn how to make like a blueprint in order to build something. So that's most of what level 1 does, just to get them, and they usually focus on a media like wire or wood to like make a really nice sculptural form to put in their portfolio.
Right. Now, in addition to those 2D and 3D classes, which they'll have to take throughout the year, students are also going to be taking, we call them elective classes, although they have to take them. It's not really elective at all, but there's a ceramic studio with Miss House, and in digital arts, that's going to be me. We do a lot of Photoshop here. And then photography, and that might be the wet lab, which means, actual film or digital cameras. We have a lot of digital cameras here. And then printmaking. And there's a lot of different ways of doing printmaking. I'm not a printmaker, so I don't want to pretend to talk about all the ways of doing printmaking, but we all have a physical printmaking studio downstairs as well. Next slide. Thank you. So here are some samples of level 1 drawings of still lives. And these look like audition. I don't know if these are auditions or not. Maybe they're not. But here's a great example of observational drawing, right? So you're looking at an object, a still life, and you're trying to render it with a pencil or charcoal. You're just kind of getting a sense of proportions and value shapes and getting volume and overlap. And we talk about composition and all those kind of things as well. And so these are kind of the things that come out of the foundation courses where you kind of learn, the basics of drawing. Next. And then there's a level 2 program. So if a student is able to pass and get a good, passing grade in the level 1 program, they'll move to the level 2 program. You don't need to re-audition to go to the level 2 program, so long as they go ahead and pass the level 1 program. And it's the same thing. It runs 5 days a week, 1:15 to 3:45. And that's going to be grades for 10 to 12. We do not accept 9th graders into the level 2 program. And level 2 is just going to build on those foundations, as it says here, to emphasize more on the 2D and 3D. And they cycle through ceramics and digital arts. So, same thing in digital arts, where they learn a base of understanding for Photoshop and those kind of skill sets. And then we just kind of cycle through at a higher level and more advanced and more difficulty as time goes on. And the student gets more autonomy, making their own choices about what kind of things they're interested in doing as time goes on as well. All right, want to go ahead and advance? Thank you. So you can see how these are slightly different, level of drawing as time goes on. Even the top right one, which seems a little, one might say is messier, but really it's like these expression lines that are kind of gestural lines moving through there. They have a good sense of volume. They have a good sense of value. I feel like things are in front of each other. Then some folks have some very detailed and sensitive reactions to light, how light bounces off an object, and those kind of things there. Okay, next. All right, yeah, and so you heard Miss Lee Traylor talk about the Experience NOCA, and that's kind of like a training. And those non-credit workshops are for 8th graders to 12th graders. So no audition. It's a first come, first serve. There might be some, I think there's a fee for just supplies that we use. It's nominal fee, but it's a first come, first serve. So when those announcements go out to the public, please sign up as soon as possible. These classes tend to fill relatively quickly, especially at the beginning of the year. And they are really helpful in us as teachers getting to know the student and what they're able to do. And that can help. We see portfolios, but having a person there also helps us give more life to a rounder picture of the student as they apply in the future. All right, next. Yeah. So here are those non-credit workshops. Now, these are the same thing as Experience NOCA. We used to have these, they used to call them non-credit workshops, and now it's been under the large umbrella called the Experience NOCA. And we have each discipline here has to do one. And so it's a drawing one, a painting one, a digital arts one, photography, 3D. Again, no audition. They're announced through Brian Hamill in our public relations department. And students are accepted first come, first serve. All right, thank you. Review. So the application process itself, and I don't know if you want to jump in and start talking on these ones, Marcus, that way you can, go over these, or you want me to go?
Yeah, sure. So when you prepare your application, I just want to say this out loud. Our department is not a performing art department. So your student does not have to make like pitch sales, it doesn't have to be over the top. It's just most students end up writing it out and just saying why they want to study at NOCA. We want to know their aspirations. Like, do they want to grow up to be artists? Do they want to study this? Like, what things are they excited about? So I think that's what we're looking for in a video, just to kind of get a sense of who your student is. And so it's real simple. You just do a little short video. We're not um we're not too judgmental on it. My only advice is like try to do it potentially um with in an environment that's not super noisy. And just pick a time where your student is going to be comfortable and not super duper nervous about being in front of a camera. So we're not judging them on that, but it's easier if they're a little bit more relaxed. And so the next part is a drawing from direct observation. We actually have a suggestion that's on accepted that you will be prompted like certain things to draw. I think one of them is like drawing a shoe, and then and that's really important. Like, so a drawing from direct observation, just like Mr. Terry said earlier, means that we're not drawing from a photo or your phone. You're drawing from a real object that's in front of you. And then your portfolio upload. Um, we really want half of the drawings. Like if you can have up to 10 drawings, but we want to have half of them or close to half of them to be drawings from observation. And I always tell students if they're bored with doing a still life and they don't feel like drawing their pair of tennis shoes again, or they don't want to draw like a still life, sometimes it's nice to do a self-portrait or to draw a family member in real life as a substitute for one of those observational drawings if they're feeling not as motivated to do it. But we also want to see what they're into. Like if they're really into like this really bright colored painting, we want to see an example of that. If they really are into ceramics or making little sculptures, take some pictures of those little sculptures. And if they're really into doing, sometimes students show like photography and like and that with their portfolio. Is it Mr. Terry Daly maybe?
Yeah, I just would, having seen a lot of portfolios and applicants, it's really just having about what makes the portfolio, what makes that student shine, what makes the artwork, what makes them happy, what do they love to do? And if they love doing a certain thing, then that's going to carry over to people who are looking at the portfolio and the work. And whether that's 3-dimensional or 2-dimensional or, painting or drawing, whatever those things are, that'll come through. And so students always ask, do I do a variety? Do I submit a variety of work, or should I submit just a particular discipline? And my answer is just show us what your best work. I mean, things that you feel are your best work. And that's what I recommend for any kind of portfolio. Now, we do want some of them from observation. So please make sure you do something from observation so we can get a gauge of where they are and how their ability to translate 3D information into a 2D flat surface. I see a question. Go ahead, Stacy.
Sure. I just wanted to clarify because I thought that the thing said 3 pieces from observation.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted to check
because
I've been on my
correct.
son's
That's what
case
it
real
says.
heavy about it.
Yeah, no, that is what it says on the actual application. We apologize. This one is a older thing, and it's not very specific. It says you can have up to 10 different pieces of art. So like if a student, I think we said 3 just in case a student doesn't have like 10 artworks.
Okay, yeah, it said 3 from observation and then up to 10 total. So
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
We made
so I just
changes.
wanted.
Yeah, we made changes to the audition that aren't reflected necessarily in the slideshow. So great catch.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding us. We have to.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, because I've been heavy on my son's case. I'm like, no, and I'm like, and you have to do more than that because we need to make sure they're the good ones.
Right. And as a reminder, it doesn't, and from observation doesn't mean it needs to be the single observation. Like I could draw a car, and then the next time I could go out in the backyard and draw the backyard behind the car. They don't need to be in the same place, right? You can be creative with the way that you are drawing from observation. You don't need that way. It opens it up, so it doesn't have to be directly only in front of you.
No, definitely. I definitely haven't been having him do that.
Okay,
I've given
great.
him
That's
some
good. That's
freedom.
good. Yeah, be creative. Yeah, try to be creative. All right, Marcus, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. No, it's okay. We got one more question.
Yes, my question was, I went to the Experience NOCA website for the thing you talked about to kind of, I guess, get a feel for who they are as artists, and I did not see visual arts. Does that mean that there are no more slots available?
No.
I saw creative writing and dance, but I didn't see visual art.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're going to open up. I don't know when they open up the visual arts one. I'm teaching I know I'm teaching one of them, so I plan on starting teaching in I think it's late January when my classes start.
They may have not advertised our visual art ones yet because I think our departments are not all synced up. So I'm sure that it will be up there after the December break.
There's one up there now.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Yeah, I just looked at it like a few seconds ago. There's one up there.
Can you share that link, Stacy, in the chat?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sure,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Thank you. I'll be teaching. I'll be teaching a drawing class, an observational drawing class. For those who are wondering. All right.
So, yeah, and this is basically what we just talked about. You can see this is a student's painting in here, and you can see we just different examples. I just talked about the self-portrait thing. Those are always great. And just some examples of a still life. Yeah, we like to see self-portraits, it's pretty direct. Now, I can put this in the chat as well. This is actually a YouTube video that talks about how to set up a still life, and I believe it is up for free. Ms. Schwab made this. Let me see if I can share it with you.
Thank you, Stacy. And yes, there's a lot of ways of techniques for making drawing from observation easier. And you can see there that one of them is called making a viewfinder. Making a viewfinder is I find really helpful because it kind of acts like a flat surface already. If you put a square around something or a rectangle, what you're looking through that rectangle, you can see it as a more of a flat plane, and that makes it easier to draw. And that's one of the reasons why we use a viewfinder. In addition to making it good for compositional choices and zooming in, you don't want to draw the whole still life. Having a viewfinder really helps in flattening the space a little bit for the viewer, for the artist, in addition to helping you zoom in and get a tight composition. Great, thanks, Marcus, for that. And next slide. Right. So as I was saying, look around and see what best represents the passion of your student, and whether that's in a ceramics cup or a painting, a black and white drawing, any of those things. Really, it's always about the things that look best first, rather than variety. Oh, photographing. Can I do this one, Marcus?
That's all you.
All right, great. So how do you photograph your work? Well, you can use your phone. Phones are great these are wonderful devices these days. It's a curse and a blessing all at once, as we all know. But make sure you clean the lens a little bit so you don't have a foggy lens. But the important part about the lighting for photographing work is to be in an area that has diffuse lighting. My overhead lights here are terrible, but in the video that we're going to show you the link for, you'll see that it's coming through a curtain and it's spreading the light out, so it's not quite so harsh. You don't want to have shadows on the work, right? I know these, if you have overhead lighting like I have here, if I put a phone over my head, phone over it, you're going to get this terrible shadow in the middle of the work. So you're going to have to find an area that does it with the light is coming from the side in a diffuse way, so you don't have the shadows ruining it. And you're trying to get it as, as large as possible on the screen. So you're trying to capture as many pixels as possible of the artwork. Yeah, sure thing. You're welcome. So, and then crop it to, it's just, we don't need all that background information, right? If there's, the carpet or the wood floor or, whatever else is down there, just really the artwork itself. That's great. Thanks. And here's that video as promised. And this is our department chair as the photo teacher. And she's going to go through that's her own house, about how to photograph the work. We're not going to, we're just going to grab the link if we can.
I'm trying to do that right now, Mr. Terry.
Okay.
I'm not.
Interesting.
I'm gonna try to see if I can get it. I'll put it in the chat, but we can keep going.
Yeah, and you can see in this example here in this shot that the window is the curtain is blocking some of the light, diffusing the light, and she's photographing from the side, so you don't have that shadow of the phone on top of the work. Awesome, thank you.
All right. Hold on. I'm gonna send the whole. So the still life charcoal. Just one more link down here. I'll try to send that one as well. There's a whole series of videos for the still life, and this is the playlist I'm sharing. So there you go.
Great, thank you.
And then we will go back to this and there.
Okay.
Great.
Did you want me to play the video?
No, it's a 4-minute video. I think you guys can watch that video in your own time. It's really, again, clean your phone so you don't have a blurry picture. Clear the floor so we only see the actual object itself. And if you have a 3D object, just put something solid behind it, so we don't have to look at a lot of other stuff on the floor and those kind of things. And then you should try not to get your shadows in the work itself. No shadows over the work. That'd be really
great. Like if you don't have anything at home to put behind that sculpture, use like a solid color sheet.
Yep.
Like flat sheet on a chair or something like that where it has a back. And usually that does the trick. Or a table that's close to the wall where you just push pin the sheet up.
So your portfolio might also include 3D stuff, and as we said, you can photograph that, or even a video. A lot of students do send in some videos. We don't really work with the moving image in the visual arts department. That's going to be a media arts kind of thing. But if they really shine in the video and with the creativity, and they want to still be in the 2D in the visual arts department, then go ahead, show the video that they made, because that could be interesting as well. I guess there's some 3D work in there as well, solid backgrounds. Yeah, go ahead. You can slide forward.
Solid color background there. And
yep.
I'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
So, we just went through, there's just a recap. And can, make sure when uploading your images, a variety of media is great, just any media. And just the basics. I think that's about it, Mr. Terry. Are you ignore these next slides because that's old.
Yeah.
This is something I do want to address, is that copy work or like cartoons that are of characters that are like that somebody else created are not really what we want to see for the like portfolio in our auditions, because we recognize that this cartoon artist or whoever developed the character is, they're not exactly giving your student permission to use that character or to sell it. So like we really want to avoid, even though I know that a lot of students are huge fans of anime and different, you really want to focus on submitting work that's not based on other people's characters. So we Ms. Trailer already talked about this. The most recent report card, and we do, the GPA, the 2.0 GPA is required. And so when you there was a question earlier about does the adult need to be an artist or know anything about art, who's the recommender? Your recommender just needs to be some like a teacher. Is teacher recommendations are great because the teacher will tell us like, hey, this student's really dedicated, they do all of their projects, they've done a great job in my history class, whatever. We want to hear a little bit about the character of your learner, and that's just the basic. So it doesn't have to be an art teacher. If they are already in like a TAV or art program, it is great for us to have the recommendation from the TAV teacher or the visual art teacher because they are focusing in that area. But if your student just doesn't have any, that's okay. We're going to see their artwork and we're going to be able to, check out their work anyway. And then the live audition drawing, which we call a practicum drawing.
Oh, can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to talk about
real quick on this part. So once you apply, the next step is you'll hear back from us, and it's either one or two things. Either, come back again or keep on working, take one of our workshops and reapply, or next step, right? So the next step is going to be the audition. So if you're invited to the audition, this is what we're going to go over right now. Here's what's actually going to happen during the audition. So you can go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's just something to keep in mind. I just to be transparent, one of the things about the practicum drawing, once they've passed, this is the final round basically of the audition process. So once your student is asked to come and do a practicum drawing and go to the school to do it, it is at least an hour to an hour and a half of drawing. The reason I'm bringing this up is because it's important that your student is aware that our program does consist of drawing from observation for an hour to an hour and a half at a time. And our program, one thing that we are checking for, besides obviously seeing how skilled and talented your student is we do need to have an idea that that student could sit and do the tasks that we gave them and follow directions for that long of a period of time. And I know that some students that becomes a challenge. We do have some students that have challenges with that, but just keep that in mind and that's one way that we kind of can tell whether students can really handle what our program is entailed of. If they do the drawing and they think they're done within the first 15 minutes, we know that something is wrong as far as we know that they're not taking their time and doing it. So it's something where we want to see your students' best work, not to see them completely finish their practicum drawing. They may never finish that practicum drawing in that hour, but it's important that we just see what can they do in an hour. It's fine. So don't have a lot of pressure about finishing the artwork. It's more about do the best job you could possibly do.
And as a reminder, our classes are actually 2.5 hours long. And so we do take a break after a little over an hour, but classes do run 2.5 hours. So if they're taking a 2D class, they're going to be taking the 2D class for 2.5 hours a day, probably twice a week. And then their next class, let's say they do digital arts, they'll be doing digital arts 2.5 hours a day, twice a week. So we kind of need to see that stamina, for the hour that they're there, hour and a half that they're there drawing, kind of be able to hold up and be able to get through that kind of drawing, that kind of time. All right, next slide. It will look a lot like this. So this isn't exactly how there'll be a still life in that exact same room, as a matter of fact, on 8.5 by 11 regular paper with a number 2 pencil. They'll be asked to draw the viewfinder. They can take. We'll have a bin for viewfinders, and they can take that viewfinder or not use that viewfinder. I find them really helpful. especially for beginners or newer students, to help just isolate the still life, so they're not drawing the whole thing, because that's just really going to be too much. They won't be able to fill all the values in or get to the value stage. And then also helps flatten the space by looking through that viewfinder. All right, next. There it is. You can see. So that right there, you can see that how that viewfinder will work. It does definitely flatten the space out like it's a photograph, like a little mini photograph. And it makes it easier to draw, as well as to help compose your page, because the relationship of that viewfinder is the same relationship of the paper, 8.5 by 11. All right, next. Right, as you said, they may not complete the actual drawing. What is complete, right? I mean, you could draw for 30 hours on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You can draw for an hour. It's just part of the process. It's part of the journey of finishing. And you just have to happen to stop after an hour, hour and a half. That's when it is. So don't worry about trying to finish this drawing. Right.
So in addition to the drawing part of your the audition day, you're gonna be asked to do a little like analysis. The student's gonna be asked, given a handout, and usually all of these questions are super easy questions. It's not a test. Like for example, we may ask the student, what does this image tell you is important to the man and the boy in the video, in the painting? So we just ask you like very simple questions, and then the students answer, and they just write it on a piece of paper to the best of their ability. It takes like 10 minutes, and this is after they do a drawing. And then after they do, just not to make sure you don't have anxiety about this, they have a whole bunch of different images that are up for the students to look at for the art analysis part. And it's just for them to like look at the painting. So like one student might pick this, and the questions are going to be very specific to the painting. There's no wrong answers in it. We just want to see your student respond to art in here.
Yeah. And so we have about 12 images, and then each image has about 3 prompts that are, obviously no right or wrong answer for the individual thing. Hopefully you can forward that, Marcus.
Sorry about that. I had somebody ringing my doorbell.
I heard. All right.
Okay, so like the interview part, like in the past, like usually it'd be like me and Mr. Terry interviewing your student, or me and Miss Michelle. So a lot of times, like the student, we have about 9 different faculty in our department. So we usually team up with another faculty member, preferably someone who teaches something very different than what we teach, so that your student gets like a diversity of opinions about art. And like, a lot of us will have different things that we're interested in more. So it's a quick interview. We just want to get to know who your student is, and there's no like wrong way of doing it. Usually we try to ask why they want to be at NOCA, and the same thing they kind of did during their video interview, except they're in real life, and we can talk about the drawing together too, which is really nice. So the teacher will be like, we'll go, oh, we see what you did here. This is really nice, and blah, 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 blah. And we'll ask the student how was their process in the actual drawing really quick. But we just do it to try to get to know y'all. So it's not a theater acting job audition.
And here are some studios. As you progress through the program, the student gets more and more autonomy. And so by level 4, they have their own individual studio where they still have to do the weekly homework, but they have a studio where they share with other people. They don't get their own room. We can't do that yet. But They do share a studio with other level 4 students. They to make their own work. And so I think these are just examples of the studios and their work. Right. We don't have many live models. We can't do nudes, but so it's just it'd be a live model. But once in a while we get a live model in there. But we do a lot of self portraits and for especially in the beginning, also some still lives. Yeah. So the progression goes into painting. So painting is one way of thinking about painting is that it's a liquid drawing. It just has color as well. That's gonna be
This is some of our sculpture examples. So like this is just an example of some of the artwork that the students did in level 1. Like some wood carvings and some different things with wire. And then as they get a little bit, if the top weird abstracted modern looking work, as they progress through their different levels as a student, they end up doing different types of media. Now the way it's set up now level 1 does wood, wire, and they learn how to weld. This is an old level 3 student. The top piece is actually a chair by a former student. And there's also a hybrid bronze piece in here. Yeah, so the artwork spans all kind of different stuff. And then there's the little video. I don't know if you want me to play it or not. How are we looking on time?
It's 5:11. We got probably 19 more minutes, but we want to take some questions. So I don't know how long the video is.
Yeah, I think it's only, I'd say, it's less than a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It's not liking me. Hold on. Google Meets thing wants you to do it one way, wants you to do it through the presentation, but it doesn't always work that way.
Yep.
The 3D sculpture program, and I'm gonna mute it and then just let you check it out. How about that?
Power tools.
Yep.
Large work, welding.
And there's some 3D printing and 3D scanning in there. Our CNC machine.
Awesome. Yeah, you have a lot of great equipment down there. Okay.
I'm trying to. Okay, wait. All right. Oh yeah, this is some. This is just some pictures of the shop and everything. People carving outside. Now we have a covered area outside where students are carving, which is really nice. And this is some stuff from. There's some VR painting, or which one is that, Mr. Terry?
Right. So we don't use the Vibe there, but we have the MetaQuest.
MetaQuest.
Yeah, MetaQuest. And so we'll be using those, building a curriculum, and we're trying to see to help work with you, as a matter of fact, about 3D, making 3D environments, making 3D objects, in addition to making, painting this, painting stuff as well. So that should be a fun part of the digital arts department.
So for us in sculpture, the level 3 students are the ones who focus a lot on like bringing physical 3D sculpture and making it in different 3D modeling software. So I think it's the same way for you, huh, Mr. Terry? Did they do more advanced stuff in level 3?
Well, yeah, it's more challenging stuff. Like we do abstract work as well. So it's like, we work from the foundation in the beginning, level 1 observation, and then we move to more expressionist, and then finally into abstraction. So, it's a little more.
Yeah, we do a lot of printing in here, and the students get to do some. Sometimes they end up using augmented reality for their work too. So,
yeah,
some more pictures, ceramics. There's Miss House. Somebody working on stuff there.
Yep.
There's Mr. Terry's room.
Yeah, so a couple
Doing artwork.
Yeah, look at those new computers right there. Those are, well, relatively new computers. Those are great.
Mm-hmm.
We have drawing tablets and scanners and cameras and lots of the Better Quest, the VR headsets. So we focus mostly on Photoshop and bringing things into Photoshop, as you can see there. But we do photography. This is a project that you see up there as well.
Printmaking.
Different kinds of printmaking, different techniques.
Photography.
Right. So there's some, film cameras. You can see down there, the 2 1/4. But they also do lighting and studio lighting, and then do field trips as well, which is what that is down there. I think the next slide is a video of the slide. Yeah, field trip.
Yep.
This is a little long, so I would try to. It's a little longer than we need to, but we do field trips and go out and do photo shoots. Oh, it's only 2 minutes. I guess you shortened it up, but
I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit.
all right.
They're just showing them their contact sheets. The darkroom entrance.
All right.
Level 1 and 2D and 3D examples. I can tell you about the 3D thing. The students were given a 2x2 piece of lumber, and then they had a certain length of 2x2, and they had to create a sculpture with just that one piece of wood. So this is what the student created in there.
We got about 12 minutes. So let's go ahead and try to.
Yep.
One word.
More level 1 examples. And this is like students that throughout the year. And you'll your student will notice how their first drawing that they did for homework for NOCA looks versus like what their homework looks like at the end of the year. It's usually like a huge progression because they've got 2.5 hours to focus on making art all day and like getting really good at it. Some more examples. Level 2 examples. And that's our Padlet thing again, which is really nice because students get to share their artwork and like their progress online with just NOCA. It's not accessible to other, I guess, schools and all that. That was cute. All right.
All right. So we have about 11 minutes before we're going to have to sign out, but Great time to ask questions for us, and we can do the best we can. If you guys want to go ahead and just speak up, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have about the application process or what happens during the school year.
I have to stand up for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries. All right, go ahead, Stacy. What you got?
I didn't even do that on purpose. I don't even know how my hand went up. I'm sorry.
No worries. Was there another hand up there I missed? It's a great way of, you can use the hand, or you can just start talking if you'd like. I don't think we need to worry about the hands. Oh, I see one. Do you know how many typically apply versus accepted? Yes. So in a typical year, we get about between 130 and 150 applicants. And this year, we're going to have about 36 seats, I think it's possible. Is that right? So it's like 15, it's like 30 level 1 students and about 6 level 2 students. So yeah, it's about 36. So 36 out of 150. Other questions? Yeah. We're mainly looking for passion in the arts, really, is what we're looking for, Zoe. And the question is, they weren't there, but what are you guys mainly looking for? And I would say passion in the arts. I mean, you don't need to, we're going to do all the arts too. It's not just drawing and painting. It's, all the things. So we want to make sure that the student is a well-rounded student, but the initial interest in the visual arts and being willing to learn, that's kind of what we're looking for. It's as I like to say, a student who comes in with a lot of facility to begin with, but doesn't want to learn anything, doesn't really, it's as a teacher, from my perspective, it doesn't really help me, right? I don't feel like they're not getting any of the information I'm trying to get across. I'd rather have a student who's more interested in learning something than having a way they've already got and they don't want to listen to anything new, to be honest with you. That's mine. Marcus?
No, I had my air compressor came on, so it was really loud.
No.
I don't know if y'all can hear in the background. But.
Nope. But if you want to go ahead, what do you think?
Great.
Yeah, still lives. Yeah. So Zoe, sure. I mean, one of the things, the still lives part of the question is about observational work, and that's going to be required in the portfolio itself. And we're going to start in level 1 doing still lives, working from observation, being able to build those foundational skills. And once those skills are done in level 1 or continue to work on through level 2, you can apply those skills to other things as well. So it's not solely just observational work, but more creative stuff is getting involved as well. So level 1 is more of a foundation program, and level 2, 3, and 4 kind of going to take off from there, become more and more about the student and what they're interested in. But getting in, sure, we like to see great observational work, but it's really about what they're passionate about. Yeah, so glass. If you're taking workshops, I know there's a lot of a couple of glass programs in New Orleans that you can take, and those, showing that work is just fine. We're not going to offer class here at the school, but if they did that project and they were passionate about it and they felt that they were getting something, working well with the media and communicating something, then yeah, please go ahead and submit that work.
Yeah, I like to see glass work in students' portfolio if they do it, if it's something they do. Like we've had students from Yaya and some other programs that have come in
Absolutely
and study.
Yep. Yeah, this is being recorded right now, Zoe. So I don't know how the link gets out. I guess it'll be, maybe you can call the front desk and find out. I'm not sure where the link goes, to be honest with you, but it is being recorded.
We are gonna. It should be posted on our website shortly after this meeting. So you should be able to access it. But most of the things that you need to know, if you're already an experienced NOCA, then most of the things you need to know, your teacher can answer them for you. that are directly related to, you know, the audition process. We'll definitely be able to link you up with it.
Right, like I was last 2 weeks, Miss House and I have been teaching, and thank you for helping Marcus, an audition workshop where the students go through what the actual audition is, and they do drawings of still lives with exactly the same materials, with the same still life stuff that we're going to be using during the actual audition. So they've been doing that as well. I know some students have been doing that. So I don't know if any parents are here from them, but that's what we've been doing. Other questions?
Yep, Nico, for sure. Not a problem.
Okay, yeah, you can help him out later.
Yep, I can help you out later.
While we wait for other questions to come through, I will say that another thing that we do hear a lot of is, preparing for the next step. And whether that next step is an arts, college or university, or some other career path, where we're building a portfolio, recording those things so that students can give those materials out quickly so they can see where they're going, and a lot of the writing components, right? So an artist statement about what they've been interested in these last couple of years, what they're interested in showing about. So that front-facing aspect of the arts, we also focus on. We have schools come. We had National Portfolio Day here this past year, which is a huge bonus. Again, we had a couple of years ago, but then the COVID thing happened. But it's back in here, so a lot of arts institutions come and come to our campus and look for students as well. We get a lot of scholarships out as well. Right.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we kind of don't know. We probably have about half and half students that are here in academic and then that go to other schools. Unfortunately, we don't have any control over the academic program. So if y'all are applying to visual arts and you get in, and you'll get considered for it if you selected it on your application. But we really don't have any we're not, it's like almost a separate school kind of thing.
Well, I mean, they do integrate some of the arts with it over there, but
right.
It's a lottery system. So if you apply to the visual arts, let's say, and you wanted to go to the full day program, then visual arts is awarded so many seats in the academic studio, and then they'll pull those little balls out of the wheel that comes around. It really literally is pulling balls out of a wheel. And so they pull that lottery system out, and that's how we determine the academic studio. Yeah, as I said, I guess it's Nico. Yeah, we have about between 125 to 150 applicants a year, and we can accept about 36. So that ratio, 3 to 1, 5 to 1, 4.5 to 1.
Yeah, it's very competitive.
Now, Stacy, did you raise your hand really? Or
yes, I really do have a question this time.
All right, go ahead.
There was something that came up before, just kind of about like the ability to, basically stay still for a certain period of time. And I was just wondering, like, is it common for you guys to receive people that do have accommodations, just out of curiosity?
We have tons of students that have accommodations. I guess what I was referring to is more about if your student doesn't want to draw for an hour, it could be.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, it's usually about the interest of the student to like keep doing the same tasks more than it is about. We have tons of students that like have to fidget with something or like, we're totally accommodating, but it's just for y'all to know that they're expected to draw for an hour. So like, it's not like a half an hour thing or a 20-minute thing and it's done.
Yeah, no.
And then they're allowed to go to the bathroom and get water, whatever, during that period of time. But generally, it's a big room with a bunch of students drawing, or it's actually 2 rooms. And then we kind of come get the students throughout the process. So some students don't even have that long to draw, or they might just have 45 minutes. But it's not a thing on, we don't discriminate, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I figured as much. I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify. Thank you.
And so I guess that's Nico again asking, I guess, is Zoe, I don't know. But what is usually seen in students who don't get in, what makes it where they won't get in? We have a lot of applicants, and we look at the whole student. It's not just about the portfolio, it's about the grades, it's about the submissions, it's about the interview. And there's nothing really there's nothing that really stands out for me anyway. That grades are one thing that would stand out, I guess. But the difference between, we just have so many applicants, and we all look at all of the applicants and we put them together. And as a department, we choose the students that we think will be successful here. And I don't know that if there's any one thing that stands out besides grade.
Yeah.
Besides grade.
So there's 9 different faculty, and all of the faculty are voting on the students. So all of the faculty put their votes in about wanting the potential students. So that's kind of why we try to do it very diligently. So it's not one of us just making the call, or 2 of us. It's 9 different teachers saying that they think this student will do well and can do the program.
All right, last few questions here. Gemma asked, what is the interview like? It's pretty brief, really. We spend between 5 and 10 minutes with the applicant. We ask them how the drawing went, how they thought the drawing went, what kind of areas they may have struggled with, what they may have thought was interesting, how they heard about us. We talk about their grades real quick. And then we go over the reading sample to see what they said about the particular piece with the question prompts, ask them what their interests are, what their future seems like. And that's, unless something else comes up during the interview, that's pretty much what we talk about.
And if the students are auditioning past 9th grade, it's fine. They don't have to be at level 2 level to get into the program. That's what the question is. Is like, if a student is past 9th grade, and 9th grade is great, but we used to only take 10th graders because you have to have a lot of your schooling under control as a high school student to do as many hours with the arts. So it's perfectly fine to audition as a 10th grader or 11th grader.
Yep. The most difficult, one thing we haven't talked about yet, the most difficult part of coming to Anoka is transportation, is getting here. We don't provide any more transportation to get here, so it's very challenging. There is a bus that parents pay for to come from the North Shore down here so they can get to school and back again. But outside of that, it's catching local, the transportation, buses, streetcars, whatever, or riding with other students to get here. It's really the biggest challenge to get here.
So the next question was, how many students generally get invited? Nico, if you're in 10th grade, don't focus on trying to get in a level 2 or a level. Don't worry about the levels. Just do your best job, and we're gonna suggest if you should be in a level 2 or something like that. The next question was, how many do you generally invite for an interview? Mr. Terry, I could be wrong about this, but if it's like 150 applicants, usually we invite close to like 70 out of that. Am I wrong about that?
I'd say a little more than that, but
a little bit more than that, maybe even 80 or 90.
Yeah, I'd say
so there's usually a lot. Usually a lot of the applicants are invited to do the final thing, the final step. But this is one of the more sought after programs at NOCA, so it's usually a lot of students that we have to look at. We wish our program was bigger so we can take more students, but even with 9 teachers, we usually have a lot of students.
Yeah, if I just did the math on it, it's about 90 students, I would guess.
Yeah, so that's a lot. It's a lot out of that. Yeah.
If you have any more questions, you can email lead trailer those questions with the application. You can also email department chair mverisco@nooka.com. Lots of ways of getting in touch with us, asking as many questions. We're happy to answer as many as we can. Thank you for being here today, Marcus.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming. And any of my students who are in my workshop who are on the line, I can totally answer more questions in class next week or this week, next week. All right.
All right, great. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.